Oh boy. Hi everyone. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to an album review of the new Mike Posner album, A Real Good Kid. This is the third studio album from singer-songwriter, record producer, and poet Mike Posner, who's had a tumultuous past couple years with the recent death of Avicii and the passing of his father in 2017 and a broken up relationship. It all contributed to this album. But before we talk about this album, let's talk about who Mike Posner is. Mike Posner, singer, songwriter, record producer, became famous, grew to stardom based off his 2015 hit, I Took a Pill in Ibiza. Ever since then, he has been releasing project after project that's been slightly more experimental and is kind of straying away from what he usually does, but still remains radio friendly. This album wasn't the first to come out of the death of his father. In fact, there was a project called Teardrops and Balloons, which was not well received. It was around like 40 or 50 tracks and it was only 30 minutes long. This album right here is condensed quite a bit to 12 tracks and 36 minutes. And right here and right now, I could confidently say this is a good contender for Album of the Year, personally. One of the reasons why is because I enjoyed it for a myriad of reasons. I enjoyed this album not only for the sounds that it had, not for the lyrics that it spoke, but the production was well, and Posner really showed off his emotions. This is an incredibly personal album based on tragic events that surrounded his life. And he couldn't have done better in the way he recorded, the way he produced, the way he sung. Almost everything about this album is perfect. You notice I say almost everything because the one critique that I have about this album is that it feels kind of shuffled around a little bit. It's not really a linear kind of storyline. It doesn't feel really cohesive, but nevertheless, this is an incredible album. Let's talk about each individual track. And I know I say that a lot in some of my reviews, but this time I'm going to try to do my best to go through each individual track without going off on a tangent. So let's begin with the introduction track. Introduction. Mike Posner has been known to have albums with introduction tracks, basically explaining how to listen to this album. This one, he really explains, listen to this album, it's about 40 minutes long, you need to really stay in a concentration place, you can't really be distracted off of anything, but it's not really a normal introduction track because it offers an explanation to why he is feeling the way he feels, and then it goes off into this talking point about saying the reason why I am so sad is because of this, and it switches to the next song, January 11th, 2017. That is the song name, which is the date of his father's passing, thus making the beginning part of this song understandable. Obviously, joints are used to help people in chemotherapy not feel as much pain or not to deal with as much pain as they could. Kind of just ease the pain of chemotherapy and the stresses that it has, as well as cancer being very stressful. This song particularly includes Posner's background vocals kind of easing their way into the track. Posner's vocal delivery on this track is absolutely spectacular. You can feel the vibrations from his throat, which sounds weird, but trust me, you can feel his emotions coming from his heart, coming from him. The next song, Wide Open, is about heartbreaks. Quaint and quick is really how I would describe this track because it's one of the shorter songs on this album. I say songs because there's a couple tracks here and there that are not necessarily songs, just recordings of Mike Posner's father, John Posner. And the way that his recordings are spread out through the album make it the more depressing. You have one recording at the end of January 11th, 2017, in which it's just Mike Posner talking to his father, and it's just really a conversation with his father. And you also have a couple on tracks moving forward. The song Drips, Amen, which is a track of just recording one more song, which is just 12 seconds of a conversation that Mike Posner had with his father, basically saying, one more song? Okay, sure. Going back to the song Wide Open, it is a quaint and quiet love song that has a very poppy and colorful kind of production sound with a little, like, boop, 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 boop. I would really give you a great explanation if I could. I just can't really find the words that I need to describe this song, because the song is unique in a way that it starts off very acoustic and then goes off in this kind of like weird electro house, electro pop, very stripped back sound, which reminds me of like the beginning track to Sad or something, or Moonlight. That's the one. Moonlight kind of reminds me of that. I know it's not the same, but it just reminds me of that. And I love the song Moonlight by XXXTentacion. We're going on to the next track, Song About You. This is a very interesting breakup song because it's not an ordinary breakup song. It is a breakup song that is from a different perspective. Instead of the singer talking about the person that they broke up with or the person that broke up with them, they're refusing to mention that person. But the twist and the irony is that they inadvertently mention the person. Not by name, I'm just saying, by like saying the song about you. He's repeating this motif of saying, I don't want to write a song about you, even though, ironically, he's writing a song about said person. The next song, Move On, is an upbeat song about, you guessed it, moving on from a tragedy. And to me, this is kind of where the album starts to like be kind of confusing, because the next song after this, Drips, is a dark and menacing song that has this very kind of like experimental, I dare say, though it's different from what Mike Posner has done throughout this entire album, because there's a part in the song Drips that is spoken, in which he is reciting this passage talking about Avicii, his friend, talking about how having this lifestyle that is so grand and so incredible is not working for him. He's a multimillionaire, he is supposed to have a good life. Why is he not having a good life? I have all this money, I have all this stuff. Why am I not having a good life? What Mike Posner is poking fun at is the fact that the mentality that people who are rich and famous have the lavish lifestyle, which can be true, but the other stereotype is that they're always happy, or that they are never sad, or that they're like at the top. They're golden at this point. And he pokes fun of that, as well as basically near yelling into the microphone, why me? Right? Why me? Why him? Why him? And by far, definitely the most heart-wrenching song on the album. The song Staring at the Fire, I can only assume, is about looking at the negativity in life and saying, you always keep looking at the negative, and in the song it says, son, you need to stop staring at the fire, which I can only assume that it's his father saying, you cannot just keep seeing the bad things about my passing, you look past it. So the song is very nice. Acoustic sounds, a great production, good vocals. I basically am saying the same thing for most of these tracks on this album. The song Stuck in the Middle is a reflection track talking about Posner's past. It is set to a happy guitar melody, but is actually really depressing when you listen to the vocals. The song How It's Supposed to Be comes after the song One More Song, which is basically an audio clip of Mike and John Posner talking to each other where John says one more song and Mike says sure, and then it goes into this track, How It's Supposed to Be. How It's Supposed to Be is a song that reflects on life, especially the last 2 years of Mike Posner's life, where he had to deal with the death of his father, the death of Avicii, and the breakup of a relationship. He had to deal with that, and he said basically, you know what, this is how it's supposed to be, and I'm moving on. It's a great way to end the album. This album really showcases Posner's emotions. This album is extremely personal and is incredible. I mean, it is by far one of Mike Posner's best works yet. There are a couple songs that I didn't really talk about, the song Amen and one more song, only because those are really just audio tracks of Mike and John Posner talking to each other or making various noises, and they do contribute to the album quite a bit. Amen is just kind of Mike and John talking back and forth, and then it goes into like this acoustic song and then transitions very cleanly into Stuck in the Middle. The only critique I have with this album is that it just seems out of order, and that if you just kind of like rearrange the tracks, it could actually be kind of like chronological, starting from his death date, John Posner's death date, January 11, 2017, talking about all of that, going through the bad, and then out comes the good and the reason why you move forward, because that's sometimes how it's supposed to be. And with that said, that is the end of this very long-winded album review. All in all, this is a great album, a fantastic album, great in the vocal delivery, in the production, in the emotions, in nearly everything on this album is damn near perfect. I'm feeling a 95 on this album. I really enjoyed it a lot. And yeah, I think that's it. That's gonna wrap up this review. Thank you so much for watching. Do you agree? Do you disagree with my opinion? Let me know in the comments down below. I might read them, I might not. Who knows? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.